From the mean streets of Essex, England, broadcasting around the world, this is Whatcast.
Hello, this is Whatcast, and I am Matt. This week on Whatcast, Conspiracy Lee is not here. Neither is Paranormal Lee or DCI Lee or any of the other Lees. None of them are here this week. Bit of a different show this week. This week it is going to be a flat Earth debate. I know I go on about flat Earth a lot, flat Earthers in general, not just flat Earth, but because I do a lot of content on the TikTok these days, it gives me the opportunity to have debates on there, because it's very, 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 very difficult to get people to come onto this show to debate about anything. We get lots of abuse, lots of people that hate the show and want to abuse. Keep listening to it, but I hate every single second of it. But listen to it every week, but I hate it because they disagree with things that I say, especially me. Lee's a fairly agreeable chap, but they don't want to come on and discuss anything because they're generally cowards. But for some reason, a handful of people like to discuss things on TikTok. So I will go where the discussions are to call these people to hold these feet to the fire, as they say, right? So I don't mind doing that. And you notice if you go to TikTok, you get quite a lot of flat earth pushback on there, which is right on my street. I love a bit of pushback. And you may have heard a few weeks ago here on Whatcast podcast, which I've now got in the new logo that is up that way. It's confusing me. It's over there. All right, if you're watching this on the YouTube. That I played a couple of clips from some of these debates. One with someone called Riz and another one with somebody called, I can't even remember his name, but he sounded like a farmer anyway. He got especially offended. Riz was quite comical in his own way, but you know, he was a knob, Riz. But you know, I've spoke to him again a couple of times on TikTok, and he's harmless. He's just a flat earther that just, you don't know whether he's trolling or what he's doing, but he does amuse me. I can't lie. He's quite funny. But also, I had after Riz and that left, so the episode that I'm talking about, when you had a couple of those little debates with me and those two guys, after that, the debates went on and other people jumped up. And it got quite interesting. So we had about 6 people in the debate, including myself. Obviously, I was the host, so I was in charge and trying to keep it on the topics that I wanted to keep it on. And I thought it went pretty good. And I recorded it on audio. I didn't record it on video, sadly. But the audio will play very, very shortly of that entire debate. The rest of it, anyway. The rest of it going on from the bits that I played a few weeks ago. To those people out there that don't really understand the Flat Earth or don't really like the Flat Earth content. What? All of you, yeah. And I understand that. So what I'm planning on doing going forward is, if I do these debates, if I get funny content, if I get interesting content, whether it be Flat Earth or whether other topics pop up that I debate on there, they'll probably, this isn't set in stone, but if I put the audio or the videos of them out, if I remember to screen record, they will probably be going out on the relaunch of the Daily What. Now, if you've never heard of the Daily What, I used to do it. It's a podcast. It's still available. All the episodes I ever did are still available anywhere you get your podcasts. And they're shorter shows, generally with just me talking about topical stuff or, you know, just randomly taking the piss out of random life things. But I think if I can have these little short debates, and if I've got a little short 20-minute debates that I have about stuff, that I'll probably be inclined to put them on the Daily What. So those of you that do enjoy that stuff can go subscribe there. I mean, it's just another podcast. It's no fee or anything involved. Just go subscribe. It's on Spotify, the Daily What. I'll be relaunching it in the new year, most probably. It became Whatcast Extra for a little while, but I was putting that on both. It was got a bit confusing, so it's back to being called the Daily What. There's over a couple of hundred episodes on there already, but I haven't made any since about March, April this year. But I will probably be putting this sort of content on there, unless it's long form, a bit more like long form like today. Anyway, just to give you some an idea, because we join it in progress. So just to give you an idea, It starts off, there is me, Riz has just left, which you would, to know what I'm talking about, you'd have to go back and listen a few weeks ago. And there's a guy on called Dave. It's not Flat Earth Dave. It ain't David Weiss who I've had on the show before. It's a guy that's called Dave, and he's a Flat Earther, a Scottish guy. And Dr. Hasselblad, who is a big proponent of the globe model. They are already in the chat, and myself. As the conversation goes on, you'll hear other people join, notably Globeman, who is quite big on TikTok, does quite a lot of flat earth debates with some notorious flat earthers. Also a guy called Sal and a guy called Keyvon, I believe his name is. Jumped in at the end, and another flat earther jumped up called Son of Africa. Just to the flat earthers watching this, right? Just to preempt your whining about these conversations. I was constantly writing in the chat, and you'll hear me saying it numerous times in the conversation. Any flat earthers want to join in the conversation? I don't want to do a pile on. Anyone wants to jump in, you're more than welcome, and I would have had them up immediately, but they didn't want to. Which is really not a shock to me, because they like to sit in the comments section being really abusive, and you ask them to come up and they say it's not worth it. Not worth my time. Don't care. No point. You won't listen. What are you typing for then?
Sounds like cognitive dissonance to me, mate.
That's exactly what it sounds like to me. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to mention quickly, Patreon. We've got another show going out Christmas Eve on Jack the Ripper. And is Jack the Ripper H.H. Holmes, the notorious first ever American serial killer. Some ties in there. Don't know whether this is true or not. Myself, Lee, and Amelia joins us for that one. Amelia always comes along, brings something good to the show, bit of good research, and we have a nice bit of banter. Nearly 2 hour long, extra long deep dive Christmas special, that one. So please subscribe, patreon.com/Whatcast for that one. Whatcast with the K, obviously. So without further ado, let's get into this flat earth debate. Remember, we're picking it up with myself, Flat Earther Dave, and Dr. Hasselblad in the chat, and other people will join. I don't announce everybody's joining. This is the reason I'm telling you, but I do announce Globeman. Then other people just jump in and out from there onwards. But hopefully you'll find this interesting. I did. A few things I didn't really know that I found out. Please enjoy. I'll speak to you after.
To be honest with you, right, I was actually doing a bit of research about last year sometime, and then I was due to fly to Amsterdam in April, and I made it my point to ask pilots, because they're in the air very often, and I asked 3 different pilots. The first 2 pilots, one said they'd been a pilot for 26 years, and I said, is there flat? And he went, of course, sir, the earth is a flat surface.
Yeah.
The second man told me yes, and he'd been flying for 18 years. The third man asked me, what shape is a raindrop? And I went, that has got a point, so that does not make it round.
Right, so, can I just clarify? Are you a flat earther?
Yes.
Where's the southern celestial rotation?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I don't know.
Neither does Riz.
Well, I think we live in a dome. I think it's a fermented dome we live in.
Why?
But there's also space outside the Antarctic Circle. You see the ice wall? There's space outside that. There's places to visit outside there.
What evidence for that?
For what? For living in a dome?
No, for any more territory outside the ice wall that doesn't exist.
Because Admiral Byrd travelled there and he's got proof.
No, Admiral Byrd
I know.
left his base called Little America, went to the South Pole, stopped, turned around and came back. And then during his interview, he said there's land left beyond the pole the size of the U.S. If you look where he traveled from and to, what his actual trek was, and overlay the U.S. on where he didn't go, guess what? It matches up. He didn't say there was more land beyond the ice wall. Admiral Byrd believed in a globe, and he wasn't wrong with what he said. There was more land that he didn't explore, but it was the rest of the continent of Antarctica.
Okay.
Was Dave? I've just got a question. Was Admiral Byrd a flat earther?
No, I just thought it was a traveller.
Yeah.
And just wanted to explore more land.
He never said the Earth was flat, did he?
No. But he believed that there was more space more land beyond this ice wall.
No. He also said in that same interview that there's more adventure to be had at the bottom of the world. What do you think that means?
That he believes it's a globe.
Yeah. So he didn't mention an ice wall. He didn't. You're just twisting what he said to fit your narrative. That's all.
But another thing is, water always finds its level. So how can water be contained in a globe?
Please don't say those words. That's parroting.
Water always finds its level.
Why do flat earthers always word it in the exact same way as well? Like the water always finds its level.
Eric Dubay.
Exactly.
You can thank him for his 200 proofs.
200 proofs.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
So if you look up the definition of level as an adjective, guess what it says?
What does it
Having
say?
no part higher than another, conforming to the spherical parts of Earth.
Liquid parts, isn't it?
Liquid parts of Earth, yeah. There you go. I knew I was forgetting a part.
And they tell me I don't know what I'm talking about on here. Where's Riz? Why didn't he request to come back?
But I do believe the Earth is flat.
Why though? Who do you watch?
what I
Can I
believe.
just ask? Can I just ask who you watch? Weiss?
Well, there's a few things I've seen that's sort of, but most of it's on here, TikTok.
What, David Weiss or Caleb?
I'm not too sure. I couldn't tell you names. But if the Earth was a globe, see if you, for instance, like people do the hot air balloons, would they not go upside down if it was a globe we lived on?
What? Why?
Good Lord.
Why would they be?
Why not? If they go upside down.
Because let's say that. Let me give this example. So if you had a football, like a British football, and you kicked it up in the air, there was no reference frame to it whatsoever, and it went up in the air, and someone just showed you it next to it with no reference frame around it, what's the top of it?
I don't know.
There you go. Why would Australia be upside down?
I'm not saying Australia was upside down. But on the globe, that's portrayed that it's upside down.
But what's the reference frame of that?
For where I was living in Britain, they say Australia is below us. That's why it's called the land down under.
Yeah, I know that because
So they say.
that's just how we reference it. But there's no in space. There's no up and down, is there? There's no reference frame in space.
Do you believe people have been to space then?
I've never been to space, so I've never been to space to confirm it, but I do believe it. Yes.
Right, so see when they said that Neil Armstrong and that Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon, why was the shoe print on the moon different from the moon boots that they wore?
That wasn't.
Good Lord.
It was over.
Yeah,
go on. You go.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And can we also get water in space?
Sorry.
Yeah, they carried water with them.
Can you get water in space?
If you carry it with you, yes.
So how was the astronauts' helmets filling up with water?
So because they use a cooling system that is water, they also have a way to drink water on a spacewalk, and that system leaked. And when you're in space in constant free fall, water becomes very sticky. So a little bit of water can cover your nose and mouth. And as far as the boot, they wore over boots.
Yeah.
So the boots that they wore in the LEM were not the same thing as what they wore. They just slipped something over it and took those off before they got into the LEM, so the regolith wouldn't be tracked into the LEM.
Dave, I just want to say, like, this is all very easy to find online. Do you not question what you're told?
Sometimes, yes. But it's also easier to believe a lie than it is to believe a truth. But see, when you've been told a lie continuously, you believe more of the lie. And growing up through school, I've also always been told that we live in a globe. And as I've got older, I don't believe it's a globe.
Yeah, but when you heard that about the moon landing,
Sorry.
you didn't check it at all, like about the boots and the prints on the moon. Like you just accepted that without question.
But why have they got the space station in NASA underwater? Why would they not control or do tests in a vacuumed area? instead of underwater?
Because underwater is the closest thing they can get to being in constant free fall for that amount of time. They're not interested in looking at it in a vacuum. They're interested in teaching the astronauts that are going to go up how to do the repairs that they're going to do in as close to microgravity as they can get. And on Earth, that would be in water.
Can you,
That's
Dave?
why it's a neutral buoyancy pool.
Dave, why do storms rotate in different directions depending on where they are on the Earth? Let's say, if we're going to use your model there.
My favorite
I don't know. I've never actually followed storms.
Why do you've not? What's the flat Earth reason for that?
Because I've started to look at it and believe that I live on a flat Earth.
No, but
Because I've always been told that it's a globe that we live on.
no, I understand that, but with the phenomena that we witness, everybody witnesses. Do you not think, how would that work on if it wasn't a globe? Do you not ever think that? Like storms, like the southern,
especially with hurricanes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now you go ahead.
Hurricanes never cross the equator.
Exactly. That's what I was getting to.
Hurricanes never cross the equator. And not only do they rotate differently in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, they rotate anti-clockwise, and in the southern hemisphere, they rotate clockwise. But they deflect differently too. In the northern hemisphere, they deflect to the northeast, and they do the opposite in the southern hemisphere. Why would that happen if we're on a flat, stationary topographical plane?
So why would that happen if we were on a globe then?
Coriolis effect.
Have you ever heard of that, Dave?
No.
Have you? So, have you ever told anyone? Because flat earthers say a lot. They say, do your own research. Have you ever told anybody to do that?
Yes.
So why didn't you?
I do a little research, but I've not advanced as much as yourself. You actually know more than me.
But you've never heard
So I've
of
only done a small part of research, not extreme amounts.
I'm not trying to argue with you, David. Don't take me the wrong way.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that you're getting more knowledge than what I have.
Well, I've only learnt this stuff because flat earthers are so fucking rude. That's how I've learnt this stuff, right? Because you can't have a conversation with one ever. Like on the podcast we do lots of conspiracies and all sorts of things, right? And I'm open to this, I'm open to that. We had people on, alien abductees on, we had all different people, Bigfoot people that have seen all this other shit, right? And my friend said, I've got a friend that's a flat earther, but he won't come on because he'll get too triggered. So I went online trying to find flat earthers. Every time I contacted flat earther, it was just fucking abuse. I'm not talking to you. And I didn't even ask them in a certain way. And all you hear is do your own research all the time. And you literally try and have a conversation with one. And then you find out that they don't even know what the Coriolis effect is and things like that, right? So it is a bit stunning to me that flat earthers say do your own research. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, completely. And I'm not arguing with you, I'm just having a debate. And obviously you're giving me information that I'll go and look to delve into it.
Proving the globe is so incredibly easy. They
Yeah.
were able to do it with the tools that they had 2,500 years ago. We didn't need special things to figure these things out. We just needed smart people to ask questions and then take measurements. 2,500 years ago.
Dave, can I just ask, because you seem quite reasonable, right? So what would convince you that it was a globe?
If from space they were able to take a picture of the Earth.
Would it?
Already been done. Sorry, go ahead. That's my specialty. I'm a professional photographer.
Yeah, that's
You triggered me.
all I was gonna say was, would that convince you though? Like if they said tomorrow that there's a picture, a photograph from space, even on old film, not digital, right? If they was to say that they've got that, would you change your mind?
Possibly.
Possibly. So that wouldn't be acceptable to you. You're not sure if that would be acceptable.
Well, if it was a legitimate photograph, then yeah.
Like the Blue Marble 1972.
on display in a museum on the original film. You can come here and see it yourself.
I'll look into that also then. It's just I've also been told throughout school that it was a globe that we lived on, and as I've got older I've just had that research into seeing flat earths, and then looked into that, and then it sort of has changed my mind. I'm not completely convinced, but as I said, I've asked a couple of pilots and they've said to me the earth is completely flat. So I understand that a pilot would be able to tell me that to anything different, because they're in the air more often than most people in the world.
So
or is it that they're... Go ahead, sorry.
No, you go. That's fine.
So he might even be in the chat. I saw him mention this earlier, comment earlier. There is a commercial pilot that we talk to on a regular basis, flies commercially in the U.S., and he knows all about these people that come up and say, hey, is the earth flat? And what he says is they say, yeah, because they know if someone is asking if the earth is flat, the chances are that they're going to be a flat earther. And if they say no to that question, then it's going to be an argument. They just want to get back to work. So they say, yeah, the earth is flat, and then make fun of you as they're flying. They're trolling you just because they don't want to have the discussion. They're there to do a job, and that's not talk about the shape of the earth with passengers.
Yeah, But it was in the airport. I asked him. It's not as if it was on the plane. So it was, and I asked three different pilots to get different opinions to see if one told me different from the other. And two told me that the earth was flat, and then the third one said to me, "What shape is a raindrop?"
Do you not think that they might think it's such a ridiculous question that they just think that, like, I will just say yeah? Right.
Possibly. But that's why sometimes when you go, you get different opinions, so you ask for a second opinion. That's why I asked more than one person.
Have you ever had like a kid come up to you asking a question that you really didn't want to deal with, and you're just like, yeah, just to get that kid out of your hair? It's kind of what the same thing.
No, because you're supposed to teach kids right from wrong, so you would tell them what's right, what's wrong. So I wouldn't just tell them yes to make them quiet.
Sure, but we're talking about a grown adult going up to another grown adult asking what the shape of the earth is. Do you think that's kind of like a bug buzzing around your head when you're the pilot and you just want the bug to leave you alone?
But these pilots were, it's not as if they were busy. They were actually sat in a place where that's what I did. It's not as if I was disturbing them through their day.
So why do all of their calculations for their flight routes include a calculation for the curvature of the Earth? Because if the Earth is flat, the distance that they're flying from point A to point B would be shorter than if it's curved, and they have to calculate how much fuel they're going to take. Planes rarely fill up the plane completely, because the more weight you add to the plane, the less efficient it is. Mm-hmm. So they want to calculate exactly how much fuel they're going to need and add a little extra just in case. And when they do that, they calculate the curvature of Earth in those calculations. Like, this is empirical evidence we can use, plus all of their training books talk about the Earth being a sphere and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they use the Haberstein formula, I think is what
that's what it was.
Yep.
I was having an old man moment. Thanks, Tyler.
It's all good, buddy. I got you.
Welcome to the live.
It's information to me, and I'm not disagreeing with you, and I will look into it. So it's not as if I'm totally against what you're saying. So
I do hear that a lot from flat earthers. I'll be honest, and they don't at all. And I'll probably.
But I actually will, because I've actually, now that you're sort of telling me things, sort of changing my mind slightly, so I'll go and look into it. So it's not as if I'm going to just pan this off and say, right,
no, it's fine.
I don't believe these guys. So
it's just there's so many things we can look at. Like, I'm absolutely nobody. Like, I literally have only got into this at all because flat earthers are generally dicks, and I just like to know what I'm talking about when they're telling me how indoctrinated I am through the Rockefeller school system that doesn't exist in the UK and all that other stuff, right? So I go by things that I can actually look at myself, and things that I can actually look at myself completely make this look ridiculous, right? And I think that, like, as we were saying earlier on, with
what is that photograph of?
This is. Do you not believe that this is the map of the world?
No, I didn't know. That's why I asked what it was. So is that a map of the world?
It's a flat Earth map. Like,
Okay.
if you have another one, then I'll put it up.
No, I'm just curious. That was how I asked.
Okay. What? So what have you? Because. So what is your flat Earth research then? If you didn't recognise that.
Well, it also tells us in the Bible that the Earth is flat and we live in a fermented dome. So no, I'm only saying what I've looked at. I'm not agreeing with it.
I don't think
You're
it even
asking me a
says
question,
that.
so I'm answering the question. So that's all.
I know. I've done. That reaction was just. I couldn't help it. Wasn't meaning to
It's
be
just
rude.
because you're too used to hearing people saying that statement.
Yes.
I have a book that says Spider-Man is real.
Do you believe that Spider-Man is real?
Hell yeah.
I mean, according to the book, he is. If we're just going to take things that we read to be true without testing them, then yeah, Spider-Man's real.
Okay. But as I said, it's also easier to convince somebody but they already believe a lie to convince them the truth.
Do you not see the irony in that? You're saying that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like who convinced? Sorry, who was trying to? I just want to say, welcome to the live. Is it Tyler at the bottom here? Average Glober.
Yeah. Yep, that's me.
Is that your name? I've seen you. You've done a debate with, wasn't it? Globey and what's his other guy? The PhD guy.
What?
Against
Blitz.
Yeah, Blitz.
PhD.
Whitsitt and those other two, Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah, against Whitsitt, Caleb, and Derek.
That was funny.
That was absolute nonsense.
It was entertaining though. Does that Derek still around? I've not seen that Derek for a while. Is he not around?
I don't know. He probably blocked you. He blocks everybody preemptively before they can even call him stupid.
Right, I haven't had any dealings with him. I don't very often talk about Flat Earth on here. It's just they've been all over my, my page, my TikTok for a while, and it's like, oh my god, like we mess around with it on the podcast sometimes, but I don't really do it on here. But I think I will now because there's more people in here than usual. So I just want to say welcome to the live.
That sounds like something that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but welcome to the club, I guess.
Yeah. Dave.
Sal, I've read your comments. I've read Sal said the comment twice. He said I've got something for Flat Earth Dave in the guest box.
Sorry, what?
Twice he's commented. No, one of the comments, Sal, is that I've got something for Flat Earth Dave in guest box. He said the comment twice. I'm reading the comments. And
Got something for you in the guest box. I don't know what that means, but let's have a look. Who's commenting it? Sal. Okay.
Yeah, Sal was cool.
Sal's on.
Boy.
Hello.
Okay. So I just wanted to verify with Dave. So he did mention firmament quite a while ago. So Dave, do you think that's like kind of like an impenetrable firmament, like a hard dome kind of a deal? Nothing comes in, nothing goes out?
Yes.
Okay. So do you believe the Earth is something like 4.5 billion years old or anything close to that?
No, because we're on the year 2023, so why would they be older than that?
I'm sorry. How old do you think the Earth is?
2023, that's the year we're on, so does it go before that?
It started from 0.
Yes.
Yes, so 0, and then it goes to, we're on the year 2023, so that's what age the Earth should be, is it not?
No.
If not, then it would be further on.
We have trees that are older than 2,000 years.
Gregorian calendar basically sets to be 0.
I've literally never heard anybody say that, but I mean, I don't know. In 2023 years, do you believe that we have an atmosphere that's stratified, where we've got lighter air and gases way up high in altitude and heavier down near the Earth?
Well,
helium rises.
Yes, so it's obviously if helium rises, it's going to take it up and it's a bit lighter.
So if you have a mixture of different gases within a closed container, like a hard tank, let's say.
Yes.
Do you know what they do to each other? Do you know what happens to those different gases?
They attack each other. I mean,
I'm sorry?
they attack one another, so they make like sort of a storm.
They would equalize with each other. They would find an equilibrium. They would mix. So we don't see that here on Earth. I mean, just from being at the bottom of a mountain and at the top of the mountain, where you need oxygen at the top of, Mount Everest because the air is so thin. We know our atmosphere is stratified. And if we were under a dome, probably for even 2023 years, I would think we wouldn't see that. We would see a mixture, an equilibrium of our atmosphere.
That's true, yeah.
Definitely 4.5 billion years. And there's also another thing called the greenhouse effect. Yes. If you've ever been in a greenhouse or know what one is.
I was told yesterday that the greenhouse effect is because we're under a glass dome. That's why they call it the greenhouse effect. That was actually a thing that was said to me.
We would literally be getting so humid and sweaty and burnt and all sorts of nasty things if we lived within a snow globe, as an example.
Well, I don't know. In Florida, where Josh is, it's probably feels about like that. You could probably convince him.
It's definitely 80 degrees Fahrenheit here, whatever that is in Celsius.
Dave, quick question. I don't want it to be like a pile on Dave here. I wasn't meaning for this to happen.
No, it's just I don't mind this. That's educating me.
No, Dave, can I ask? Because you said right at the beginning when you came on that you believe there's extra land beyond the ice wall, right? Yeah. So how do we get there if it's completely sealed dome in the way? Is there a little door?
Well, it's in the dome.
Well, the dome goes further than the ice wall. Like where is the dome from? Where does it start?
I don't know. I just thought it would have been in the full land, but obviously it's not. But you're convincing me to be diplomatic and different now that it's not a dome, it's not a flat earth. So
who did you watch though? Who convinced you? Because you came in here a solid flat earther. What did you watch?
Well, there's a few things I've seen. Mostly it's on TikTok, and it's just pages that post pictures and post somebody else. So it's not actually as if it's a certain man or a certain group of people.
There must be someone. Are you just embarrassed to say who it was? Was it Caleb and his big...
No, if I knew, I would say. I'm not embarrassed to admit that.
Was it Caleb and his big moon face up against the camera, grinning at you, that convinced you?
I don't know who Caleb is, so no. Nah, I'm being honest, and if I actually knew people's names...
David Weiss is always a good one. You know David Weiss sells an app that says this is reality. Have you ever seen that app? The Flat Earth, Sun and Moon and whatever the fuck it is. Have any of you guys, the other guys, have any of you ever looked at David Weiss's app?
I actually was in a debate with him, and he kept trying to pawn it off the entire time.
Yeah, I've had him on my podcast as well. You know,
he is frustrating one.
He told me that because I was disputing flight. He was trying to prove that Santiago to Sydney proves the flat Earth, and I'd actually booked a ticket. Obviously, just preemptively, I hadn't actually paid for anything. Telling me that the flight didn't exist, and then he was trying to tell me that they use special military planes to fly that route with 7 layers of paint on to stop the plane falling apart because it does 1,000 miles an hour. It was at that moment that I realised that he didn't even believe himself.
Was he wearing a bird cage on his head at the time?
Oh my god!
What was that bird cage thing?
He literally had a bird cage. It probably wasn't a bird cage. It looked exactly like one though, and he had it on his head, and he had it hooked up to what is it, like a Van der Graaf generator. And basically, he was just saying, not basically, word for word, he was saying it's charging his life force energy. And everyone in the Flat Earth Live with him, they were like, "Oh man, that's really cool. So like, how does it work?" And he was like. He gave some bullshit explanation. Then he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure Bruce Lee did stuff like this."
Yeah.
Tyler.
I'm just realizing what Sal's got in his head.
Don't judge what you don't understand, Tyler.
Sal, you have to use that for the salad tonight. Why are you putting the strainer on your head?
I'm telling you, I've never felt more alive.
Have any of you ever tried speaking to Nathan Oakley?
He made a YouTube, or sorry, he made a call out, or what is it? A response, I guess, to one of my videos on his YouTube channel, and I made one response to him, but he refuses to debate unless it's in his Discord.
In his Discord, yeah.
And yeah, he's just going to sit there and mute you nonstop. And I told him I'm not going to do that. I'll do it with somebody.
You can sort of have a conversation with him. I've got loads of sound bites from him here.
Violated by gas!
That's him. Right. He shouts at all of his people.
Gas go down, go boom boom, my friend.
There he is. I think he was shouting at Whitsit when he said all of that. They had a big debate once about that.
See, as I said earlier on about, I don't believe that people have been to space. Why does Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and the other man that were on Apollo 11 or 13, why did they have a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame as actors?
I'll leave this to you guys. I've not really looked massively into the moon landings and stuff. I didn't used to believe it, but the more I look at it, the more I do believe it. So.
And they say that there's also no gravity in space, so why was the American flag waving?
That's not what they say. No. So it's called the Walk of Fame, not the Walk of Actors. So to get a star, you just have to be significantly famous and voted in to have a star. Obviously, the first two men to set foot on the moon are significantly famous enough to have stars on the Walk of Fame.
But there is no says that they're actors.
No, it's not.
It doesn't.
No, it's not just actors.
Yeah.
No, but the Buzz Aldrin,
it doesn't say actor under their name.
It's said that they've been given that award because they are actors.
No, it's basically celebrities.
Yeah, singers can get on there, rappers, anybody can really get on there if they're famous enough.
When you get a star, they put the different definitions. Like that man will have a music sign for being a singer, and then you've got actors that have got actors signs, like the wee camera thingies. Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure theirs say astronaut.
Theirs has got a camera as if it's a film.
I mean, that's a pretty easy thing to look up if you just bring up their star. It's not going to say actor. That would be pretty dumb of NASA. So if NASA's lying about the moon landing, why would they allow someone to put actor on their star? It just makes zero sense.
And I've also seen that on NASA's websites that they say the Earth is flat also.
So I have it right here. Neil A. Armstrong, Edwin E. Aldrin Jr., and Michael Collins, 7/20/69. All it's talking about is Apollo 11. That's all it says on it. Doesn't say anything about actor, nothing like that.
No, like see, normally it's what's the wee dot at the top? Symbol. Yes. What's that? Is that not a photo, like a camera?
Yes, this is just a picture of it. Unless you want to look at their specific stars alone.
Yes, their star, right? So that wee bit on the bottom there.
Yeah, this is because it was televised. It's not because they're actors.
So why would they not have a space thing to determine that they're astronauts?
They do. It's this one right here that says Apollo 11 on it.
So why would it not have like a space sign on that one? To tell that they were spacemen? Or astronauts, as they call themselves.
They do. They're talking about Apollo 11, the mission to the moon. What else would they be referring to?
Do you need a little picture of a rocket for it to be real?
Possibly. Because other ones have got like music signs and cameras.
Oh. Yeah, like Paul Rudd, he has, this right here. I don't see what you want. This is because they were on television. That's why. Right? It's because it was televised, so it's on the television Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
It's not for actors.
I got a question for Dave.
Yes.
Dave, do you believe that NASA lies about everything?
Yes.
Okay, so 2 minutes ago you said NASA even says the world is flat.
Yes.
So reconcile those two statements. NASA lies about everything.
I believe that they've lied about the moon landing, but they've got on their website that the Earth is flat, so why would they?
No, you're not understanding.
I do understand what you're saying. I do not believe what NASA say to an extent.
Flat Earthers do that, though. Like they say, even NASA admits.
Yeah, if NASA lies about everything, but NASA says the Earth is round, because NASA lies about everything.
Possibly.
So it's round. So we're good.
Case closed.
Yeah. All right.
I think Dave might be on
Well-
the turn. Are you, Dave? Are you going to be the globe
Possibly.
now?
Possibly, yes.
So and as far as the moon landing goes, we can just analyze what NASA gave us as their proclaimed evidence and see if it would have been possible to fake. And when you do that, you find out that it is impossible to fake, especially when you look at the trajectory of the dust particles coming off the lunar rover in the Lunar Rover Grand Prix. We can prove empirically that those dust particles don't slow down, which they would have to unless they were in a vacuum. And then we can look at the arc that they take and predict what that arc would look like, even if it was shot in a vacuum chamber on Earth, because we know what the Earth gravitational pull is, and we know what the moon's gravitational pull is said to be. And if you look at that, it matches up perfectly with 1/6 Earth's gravity, which means they would had to have turned down the gravitational pull of Earth if they filmed it here. So we can prove empirically that that video was shot on the moon.
Neil Armstrong,
Another-
Buzz Aldrin, and the other man was the first man on the moon. So was the cameraman not the first man when they videoed them coming out the spaceship?
No, there were only 2 men on the moon during Apollo 11. Michael Collins remained in the command module in orbit. The camera that filmed Neil Armstrong coming down from the lander was folded out from underneath the lander by the astronauts inside the
Spaceship.
lander, and then it was started. So it was just a remote camera on the outside of the lander itself.
Okay. I'm only asking questions and you're telling me answers back, so I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm asking a question.
Yeah.
Another
I mean,
thing,
if you-
Dave. Oh, sorry, Dave. Dave, have you ever been to like a stage show, like a concert, a play, anywhere where they've had overhead lights,
Yes.
shining down on the stage? So you know that you can see, when it's dark, you can see like the columns of light from every individual spotlight and the hot spots of every spotlight on the stage, and the movement of those lights if they move them. You can see all that.
Yes.
Okay, so another thing about what Josh was saying about the moon landing and the gravity is also the lighting. All the videos and photos have like a uniform blanket of light over the moon's surface, and all the objects have like one distinct, clear, dark shadow, indicating that there's one powerful light source very far away. Because if there was multiple lights, you'd have multiple shadows, some stronger than others. And if there was multiple lights, you'd be able to see those columns of light, especially with the black background of the space, and you'd see hot spots on the ground. So the lighting.
What is that
aspect,
noise?
I
Are you
think,
cooking
is
something
Just
there?
as strong as the gravity aspect.
I was cooking, I'm sure.
He's boiling flurf tears.
All right.
Oh, is that loud? Let me put the phone further away.
Making some bacon.
And the lighting is pretty hard to understand if you don't know what you're looking at, but having an even lighting on a surface, yet very harsh, crisp shadows that are well defined is really hard to do, especially back then, especially with a single light source, because to have an even light source on a surface, the light has to be really, really far away. But to have crisp shadows, the light has to be extremely bright. And making both of those work in a stage setting is nearly impossible to do. We would do it today with multiple lights and CGI.
Can I just ask quickly? Is there any flat earthers in the requests? I'll let one of you in if you want to come in.
Hey, I'm actually about to go pick up my girlfriend from work. If you're still alive, though, I might hop back in. I just dropped you a follow.
Yeah, doubtful. But thank you. Cheers for popping in.
Another question, why have they only been to the moon once? Why has nobody been back since?
We went 6 times. 7 if you include Apollo 13, but Apollo 13 turned back because they had an explosion on the way to the moon. So they orbited the moon once and then came back to Earth. 6 different missions with men walked on the moon, total of 12 men. Artemis 1 launched last November to test the spacecraft. They are orbiting the moon with Artemis 2 that will have a manned mission next year. The following year, they're projected to land on the moon with people again, as long as the schedule stays on track.
I see. I just thought they'd been once, that was all. Didn't know there had been more than once.
Hello?
I'm not a flirt.
Oh.
I was.
If Son of Africa or Gas Pressure is in your
Son of
box,
Africa.
they are both flirts.
Yeah, Son of Africa's in here, and he's talking. There's a few flat earthers in there. What's up, Sal? What's up, Josh?
Cow down.
How's it going? Yeah, when I was scrolling through your viewers list, the 2 biggest flat earthers I saw were Son of Africa and Gas Pressure. I just don't know if they've requested or not.
Son of Africa. Bring him on.
He's a good guy. He's a question asker.
Yeah, he's good. Doesn't accept reality, but he's good.
So Josh, the moon landing, you know how, like, the craters there, you know, you have a leaf blower, you can have a disturbance, right? But you see the power from those rockers, how did it not create any disturbance on the surface of the moon?
So it did. So the easiest way to explain this is if you live in an area that gets snow, and you have some like dry snow, not wet snow because it won't work that well, and you take a leaf blower. Let's say there's a couple inches. I use Freedom units. I don't know the metric system that well. So if you have a couple of inches of snow, like it's something that wouldn't necessarily cover your feet, which is what is said to exist on the moon, and you take a leaf blower and blow it straight down at the sidewalk that is covering the snow, it's going to blow it all out. And like, you can stand there won't be snow on your feet, so on and so forth. So as it's landing, it blows all of that out. And when it takes off, there's nothing left for it to blow out. It's something pretty easy to understand.
So, like, when you say, like, when it was landing, there was nothing else to blow up. But did you see, like, if you looked into it, did you see the footprints, like the footprints of the astronaut, like the way when he touched down, like even the footprint. Oh man. Ah, jeez. I hope you see I hope you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the footprints are well defined because the regolith on the moon has very sharp edges, which allows it to stick together better than, say, dry sand. So
my
NASA
point
has.
is,
go ahead.
Yeah, my point is, if the dust was blown by like what you said, how would you have footprints from the astronauts if the dust was already blown out?
They didn't walk. The footprint wasn't under the lander.
Yeah. If you do my example with the snow on the sidewalk and a leaf blower, there's going to be still snow left on the sidewalk.
And you can do that with anything. If you watch a helicopter landing, it'll blow everything under it away. When it leaves, that stuff is no longer under it.
What about the landing pads? They looked new as a tin foil, man. What about the landing pads? We didn't notice any dust on the landing pads.
What was under the Mylar?
Tin foil. That was just tin foil. Like,
It's called Mylar.
It's called Mylar.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Son of Africa, right? I haven't got much longer here, so I want to ask a question, because this is what I've come on to do, right? And the moon, we're getting a bit off track with the moon and stuff. I want to know, where is the southern celestial point of rotation on this map? Is this your map, by the way? Don't want to misrepresent you.
Close. It's close. Like 50% close.
50%? Which 50? Up until the equator? Then you don't want to know.
Does he have a map?
All right. So what I mean is, like, the the outside is 100%, but the inside could not be 100%. So that's why I'm saying it's 50%. So it's 50-50. Outside there's an ISO, and the inside it could be like that or not.
Where would the stars rotate clockwise in the south? Whereabouts?
If you're standing south, if you're in South Africa and then you're facing south, you see the stars rotating from the east going to the west.
No, 2 points of rotation. One in the center, right on your world, the Polaris, anti-clockwise.
Yeah.
There's another clockwise rotation at the South Pole on the globe. Where on this?
Yeah, so right on that question, I could ask the same question. Like if you go to Uganda and you start with the equator, you have another person going to the south and going toward another person goes towards the north. Where, from what point would you see the stars start rotating in different directions? I would ask the same question.
Why does every flat earther answer a question with a question?
Can I ask a question before he gets away with what he said? Why do you have an equator?
Yeah,
exactly.
What? What?
But before you answer South of Africa, us, we have an equator, it's an imaginary line right at the center of the globe, and that splits the southern and northern hemisphere. That's why we have it. Why do you have an equator? I wanted to answer that way, you know, asking questions.
And to expand on that, before you answer that, why do you have stars? Why are they there? To look pretty in the sky? What is the purpose of the stars?
Right, we have the equator. That's where the sun travels. Like that's where, like the center, the middle line where there's the D between you see your R on that middle part. That's where the circle of the
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, because now your equator is at 0 degrees, right? But on top of that, why does it start over? Why does it go 30, 20, 10, 0, and then starts over again? How does the degrees, even though the size changes, stays the same? Why does it start over?
No, I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know about that. I have
You
to
don't understand degrees on your map?
I don't really accept the Greece one as a flat Earth map, so like I wouldn't speak much on that. I don't know anything about.
So how did you come to decide where? Because it's not like the sun's rotating on the street. It's rotating above, and it's huge, right? It's still big to you guys, even if it's flat. How do you decide where that equator line is?
It's not huge.
It's small. Okay, it's small. It's lighting up half of your planet, but it's small. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
How did you decide where the line is that you make the equator? The imaginary line.
Whoa. Well, I don't think we decided, because to us the sun goes up and down. That's what makes seasons. That's why we have seasons. So we don't really have a model. I don't know if someone told you about that, but look, we don't really have a model on this, to explain, we have an equator and that's like this. But to explain your question, right, the sun revolves above us and it goes up and down. That's what gives us seasons. I don't know a lot in those, your question, maybe I don't understand it properly, or I don't know how to explain it properly, but just to say.
Can I ask a question to the host? Is your name Josh, sir?
Me?
Yes.
Matt. My name's Matt.
Matt, sorry. You said that...
Sorry?
Rotational points, so...
Sorry, you broke up there. I didn't understand what you broke up there. Try again.
You said that the Earth has got 2 rotational points.
Yeah.
So what way does it rotate? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? Or does it rotate both?
It's anti-clockwise if you look towards the North Pole at the rotation in the sky. And if you look towards the South Pole, if you're the Southern Hemisphere, it's clockwise, right? And just in case, I suspect you don't understand how that could happen, just stand up and turn around a certain way. Look at your ceiling, see which way it appears to be rotating. Keep turning, look down, and see which way the floor appears to be rotating. They're rotating in opposite directions by your perspective.
That explains perfectly. I was just asking a question, just to understand it, that's all. But I understand what you mean.
I've just heard people ask that question. Like yesterday, I was told that I'm an idiot because the Earth can't rotate in two directions at once. So I was just preempting your point.
By the way, what Matt just said is why the hurricanes rotate the way they do.
Yeah.
Between north and south.
So another question here: what makes the Earth rotate on its axis and then go around the sun?
I'll defer here. I don't know.
The way the Earth was formed, it was the gas cloud formed the Earth.
What makes it?
It was a spinning gas cloud that formed the Earth, and that spinning rotation never stops because there's nothing to stop it in space. There's no air resistance.
So is there a possibility that the Earth could stop rotating?
I'm sorry,
You said, is there a possibility that the Earth could stop rotating?
If it rotated abruptly, if it stopped rotating abruptly, we'd all be in trouble. We'd all be flying probably off the planet because,
But would the gravity not keep us in?
Well, maybe I shouldn't say off the planet. We'd all go flying. We may not leave the planet, but we all go. It'd be like a car crash hitting a car hitting a wall at high speeds. You're going to go through that windshield.
Yeah,
if it slowed down over the years very, very slowly over time, that would be a different story. But it would ultimately affect things.
Yeah, Dev, even here's another big problem, Dev, to solve that we can ask Sal here. Does because in the cosmic, does it have to slow down or speed up at some point? Because the way we see the universe, I think when it gets close or away from the sun, it should slow or speed up. Does it do that?
An elliptical orbit, but you got to understand the narrow parts of the elliptical orbit are still massive in size. It takes the Earth a full year, right, to go around the sun. So you're talking about six months to do half of that elliptical orbit. 6 months. It's like getting in your car and driving in a circle or an ellipse in a big parking lot, but take 6 months to make that turn.
So the Earth rotates around the sun?
Yeah, you could relatively do that at the same speed. You wouldn't really have to adjust the speed of your vehicle to make that turn. The difference in speed is so negligible when you're talking about speeds that fast and distances that vast.
All right. So here's a question. So if we are revolving around the sun, and then I don't know where you live, but don't you think that after 6 months, the shadow of your house or the shadow of your tree should be on the opposite side because the sun is on the other side?
Can I just say something for simplification here, right? With all these questions and getting into the space and everything like that, why? Like, people say, why would they lie about the shape of the Earth? That is like the question that always gets asked to flat earthers. But why would they invent everything that's happening what would be the purpose of inventing faraway planets? What would be the purpose of inventing what this is and how fast we're moving through space? Why would they do that? Tell me why.
You say in a different way what I say all the time. When we're talking about the shape of the Earth and people start talking about, what sun is getting into and even beyond what sun's getting into, I'm like, if you don't understand the most basic things about why the Earth is a sphere by talking about what we see here on the ground, it only gets more difficult from here. So to gish gallop all the way to this other stuff is ridiculous. Yeah, you can talk about much more basic terrestrial observations.
But no disrespect to Son of Africa here. He hasn't even, and to Dave, they've both said they don't believe this is accurate. They haven't even got a model, but yet they want to go into faraway space to prove that it's not a globe when they don't have an alternative at all.
What I would say about that is 2,500 years ago, we got on this Earth as a sphere track. So that means prior to 2,500 years ago, give or take, people believed the Earth was flat. So in over 2,500 years, why wouldn't that community have a consensus on a model?
Yeah, so the other thing is that I'm open-minded. So I don't. If you ask me, is the Earth 100% flat? I'll tell you maybe not. It could be concave. So that's why I would say like we don't have a model in the flat Earth because we don't have an organization like NASA, which is funded millions of dollars per year to do a research on this thing.
No, we were on this globe track roughly 2,500 years before NASA came along. So that's a cop-out to start talking like that. So why? I mean, there's like zero consensus. I mean, if I was to ask 20 flat earthers, so what's the distance to this local moon of yours? I'd get 20 different answers. Some say 50 feet. Some say 3 miles. Some say 33,000 miles. Come on.
But why would the flat Earth have a different moon from a globe?
I'm sorry?
Why would the flat Earth have a different moon from the globe? It's not as if we're on a different planet.
Dave.
It's just that we believe that Earth is flattened out.
Dave, do you believe the sun and moon are within the dome?
No.
Where are they?
Outside it. In this so-called atmosphere.
You are a different kind of flat earther that I've ever spoken to.
Are you aware that the overwhelming majority of flat earthers say it's a local sun and a local moon within the dome? Would you be surprised?
I would be surprised, yes.
Well, that's the truth.
But I don't understand why a flat Earth would have a different moon and sun to a globe. It's not as if we're on a different planet, so we all share the same Earth, the same moon and sun, sorry.
Exactly.
So why would there be different distances?
Exactly. Why would there be?
No, I find it good that we don't agree on the same thing, on one thing as flat earthers, because we are not controlled. Like we do our own research. But I would tell you, like there's 7 firmaments, and then the sun is in another dome. You see.
Hold on a second, Dave. So how far away do you think the sun is? If you believe the moon is the same distance away on any model, how far away do you think the sun is?
I've not actually researched, but it's...
Do you think it's the same distance on both models?
Yes.
So you think it's 93,000... Is it 93,000 miles away?
93 million. Roughly. Depends where in the orbit. Could be 94 million.
So 93 million miles away is what the globe says, Dave. So you're happy with that?
Yes, because see, to be honest, right, we live on a flat Earth. Well, I'm assuming it's a flat Earth and you live on a globe, right? But say, for instance, me and you were in the same place in England, it's not going to be further away for you than it is from me.
Right.
Because I believe the Earth's flat.
What I'm saying is, you think it's 93 million miles away. You agree with that. If you think that's what people are saying it is, so you agree with that, right?
Yes.
So how would that go round in a circle above that if it's that far away?
It rotates round.
Yeah, but what, 93?
It's not good.
How would the light work there?
The same as it works on the globe, so it's not going to be any different.
No, the globe is half facing the sun. Like the sun is shining on half of the globe. If it's the flat and it's above, it would at 93 million miles away. There would never only light up half of the plane.
Yeah, can I interject 1 sec? Have you seen timeanddate.com on the 7th or 27th of July? Almost 99% of the entire Earth was lit by the sunlight.
The Earth's
population.
The Earth's population, not land masses. Don't get it twisted.
That's why you have to go to timeanddate.com and you see it. You see the path yourself.
Population.
I don't have to.
Matt, do you have access to another device just now?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you want me to look up?
It's what it is. I've got it's a page on TikTok. It's called Exposed TV, and they've got 3 pinned comments, and it's the middle video on that, and it shows a picture from the moon and the Earth.
Right.
It says that the shape of the picture of the moon is similar to what's mirrored onto the Earth. Well, what we've got on the Earth is the globe is mirrored as the same image as it's on the moon.
No, I've
like,
seen
for instance,
that.
like
I know what you're talking about. But they pretend that the other land that we can't see is also on the moon, don't they?
No. Why would the other land be on the moon?
No, they do. I've seen what you're talking about. That you're saying that from a flat plane, like what we're looking at there, that is mirrored onto the moon. That's what you're suggesting.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
When you see the Sea of Tranquility and the Sea of Serenity on the moon, that's a reflection of the land masses from Earth. Too bad they don't match up unless somebody fakes a meme.
Yeah, they don't match up at all. They really don't.
No.
I got sent that because we've got Flat Earth listeners to the podcast, and they send me shit all the time, and that's why I have to look this stuff up because I know it's
ridiculous.
I know it's crap, but I have to give it the time of day.
Yeah, but look, even the globe could be crap, like, because if the moon was rotating, but why do we see the same side of the moon, like, you see?
Because I can explain that. That's tidally locked. The moon rotates on its own axis. I think it's approximately 28 and a half days. Well, guess how long it takes for the moon to rotate around the Earth, to orbit the Earth? Approximately 28 and a half days. You can actually model this with a couple balls, and you can see why. If the moon did not rotate on its own axis and goes around the Earth, then we would see other sides of the moon.
Right, Sal, I've got a question for you. If the moon rotates around the Earth, why does the Earth rotate around the sun?
Why not? It's two independent things. Don't mix them together. One's got nothing to do with the other. One's got nothing to do with the other. They're two separate things.
Okay, that was just a question. I'm not disagreeing. It was just a question I'd asked.
No, I understand, but it's two totally independent things. Yeah.
So what's bigger, the sun or the moon?
Which is bigger?
Is the sun not bigger than the moon, like in size?
Dave, you're trolling, are you? You've got to be.
No, I'm just asking a question. What's bigger?
The sun makes up something like 97 or 98% of the total mass. I'm talking about including Jupiter, Saturn, the Earth, all the other planets, and the moons. The sun still makes up about 98% of the total mass.
I'm not trolling, I'm just asking questions and I'm getting answers. I'm not trolling.
It just seems like for someone
information here.
That is like, I mean, I guess if you believe in this, you would believe potentially that the sun and moon are the same size. But you've just said you believe that that the sun's 93 million miles away, and you're also saying that
it's different sizes, the moon and the sun.
Yeah, but if you think that the sun is 93 million miles away and the moon is much more local, then surely you would realise that for them to appear anywhere near the same size, the sun would have to be massively bigger than that.
Not massively, because they give out the same light.
The moon doesn't give any
bright light. So, well, why is the moon bright?
Because it's reflecting the light.
Reflecting the light from where?
From the light source, the sun.
Okay. I'm only asking questions and you're giving me answers. I'm not trolling you.
Well, some confusion happens too.
You have to at least understand how redundant these questions are. But here's the thing with the sun, right? This is a question I wanted to ask, especially Sons of Africa that actually answers these questions. You're talking about linear speed now. Now we're not rotating. Now we're talking about this sun is traveling around the equator at 1,000 miles per hour. We should definitely be able to see that. Us rotating very slow and watching sunset or sunrise is different. But now you're talking about the sun is going around us in circles, like a NASCAR.
Yeah.
Like we're in the middle, and then we're at a NASCAR thing. We're watching the car.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just revolving above us. Like it doesn't sit or rise. Like it just goes away from your side.
All right. So I'm glad you're with me. Now, if I am in the center of that track, I work for NASCAR. I'm at the center. I get some stairs. I'm still in the center. I'm looking at this car with my binoculars. It keeps the same distance around me because I'm in the center of a circle. So I can watch it lap around the whole time. Why can't I do that with the sun? I have a telescope. I'm sitting in the middle. I'm in Greenland. Why can't I watch it the whole 24 hours if I'm at the same distance from each angle? So you can't use perspective because I'm at the same angle, same distance the whole 24 hours.
Yeah, go to the North Pole. Go to the North Pole. You observe during winter, if I'm not mistaken, or summer.
No. This would be all year. This would be that works for us. But this would be all year round for you.
Yeah, Keyvon. Here's the thing, because like I explained earlier on, during the summer or winter, the sun rises, elevates, and then when the season changes, the sun decreases elevation. And when that sun elevates, that you'll be able, if you go to the North Pole, you'll be able to see like within 6 months, like 24 hours sun, like something like that.
Why can't?
And then if you go south, you have what you call this short days and long nights.
Sons of Africa, no matter what, during the year, no matter what, I will be able to see the sun, right?
Yes,
whether it's 24 hours a day or 12 hours or 8 hours, I will be able to see the sun, right? If I'm at the center and the distance is the same the whole time, why would it ever disappear? All year long.
No, it disappears. It goes away. Like, why shouldn't it disappear? It goes away because it elevates.
South Africa, listen to me. The distance never changes. So why does it go away? It goes away, it goes away, it goes away. It's not an answer. This is not a kid's book. Why does it go away?
Why does the sun go away?
The sun wouldn't go away because we rotate round the sun, so you'd be able to see it all year round.
Well,
that's the answer. It's the sun wouldn't disappear because we are rotating round the sun. So therefore, the sun wouldn't disappear.
Hold on a minute.
The sun disappears for us because
Sal said that we rotate round the sun.
Hold on a sec, Dave.
Yes,
Dave, do you believe the Earth is flat like this, and this is rotating around the sun?
No, the sun is. I think the sun rotates around us.
Rotates around us. What goes underneath us?
Correct, Dave. So that's the answer. That's the question I'm asking. If it's at the same distance at all angles for me, why would it ever disappear? I would be able to see it with a telescope the whole 24 hours.
But
not even with a telescope. I'm just adding the telescope so I can get closer. But really, I should be able to see it all 24 hours because if I can see it at one point, I should see it behind me too because it's the same distance.
But what I'm saying is, Matt, that I believe the sun rotates around the Earth, but Sal said that we rotate around the sun. So that didn't make sense to me earlier on.
No. Sun believes the same thing. He believes it is just rotating around the equator for no reason. Like we don't know what force it uses to go around in a circle or anything. It's just,
what do you mean for no reason? That's why I asked the same question. What makes the Earth rotate? And you didn't say. And you say like for no reason the sun rotates above us. You say no.
The reason there's no answer for that for you right now is because the question is, where does the sun go if it's at the same distance for me at all angles?
Yeah, we can only see 3 miles.
For all angles, then you would be constantly in daylight and you wouldn't get night.
What was that?
It can't be at the same.
It can be the same angle because if it's a circle and I'm while it's going around me, is at the same distance no matter what.
But you would need to turn round with the sun.
Yeah,
if the sun is rotating around the Earth.
Correct. I would be turning around, correct. But it's still going to disappear. Not only is it going to disappear, it's going to disappear at precisely the time that we predict it would disappear. We're not going by distance. We're not going to say at this many miles it's going to disappear. We know.
You've just told me that it wasn't going to disappear.
You're going to observe. At this time in California, you're going to observe the sunset, no matter what. No matter if it's with your plain eye, no matter if it's with a telescope, no matter if it's with binoculars, that sun is going to go down at that time. You don't get more time than me just because you have a telescope.
No, I'm not saying that, but a minute ago you've told me that you'd be able to see it all year round, or all the time, but you've just told me it's going to disappear. So why would it disappear if you can see it all the time?
Yeah, it disappears for us. But for you, I don't understand. Let's just stick to the car so you can get what I'm saying. I'm at an NASCAR race. I'm in the center. Nothing's in my way. I'm looking at this car go around in circles. It would never disappear, right? Because it's at the same distance from me the whole time, right?
You would need to move round to see the car going round.
Why would I have to? I would have to turn, yes. I'm going to turn around and look at the sun, okay? I'm going to follow it with my eyes.
Right, so you're going to follow the sun all the way around. You're going to follow it all the way around, so it would never disappear for you. And you've just said it would disappear.
For me, it would, because I live on a globe. So yes, I know why it disappears for me, but I'm asking, why would it ever disappear for you?
Because it sets. The sun sets.
Where does it set? You're on your flat Earth. The sun sets.
Yes.
How?
No. All right, now I'm confused.
Because it moves away and it sets underneath. It disappears.
It goes underneath.
Yes, and then it reappears.
Hang on.
Wait a
are you
minute.
saying hold on, Dave. Are you saying it goes overhead and then disappears and goes underneath and then comes back up the next day the other side, like Pac-Man?
Yes.
So for 24 hours.
Wait a minute, man. So where would it disappear for you? So where does it go for you?
Hold on. For 12 hours. For 12 hours, you have no sun anywhere.
It what? Sorry.
For 12 hours, you have no sun anywhere. The sun disappeared worldwide.
Right, so where does the sun disappear to?
We turn away from the sun.
Turn away from it.
You're saying that on your model, the sun goes below the horizon, then underneath the turtle, whatever's under there, and then back up the other side the next day. But you realise that when the sun goes down for me, it's still up on the other side of the world, right? So someone is still seeing the sun, but on your world, nobody would be seeing the sun because the sun would be underneath the disc. So the whole world would be dark at the same time. Huh?
So why would it disappear?
You've just said it goes below the horizon and goes underneath.
And so did the man at the bottom. He tells me it disappears also, but he can see it the full time if he moves round with it. So how can he see the sun the full time if he's moving round, but it disappears also? So how can you see something and it also disappears? He said that his example was, right, if he's at a NASCAR place and he's moving round and he's going to still see the sun the full time he's moving round. That didn't make sense.
I'm missing
How can something disappear if you're following it in a circle? That's what the man in the bottom box said. He says if he was to stand at a NASCAR on a ladder and watch the sun moving round and follow in his telescope so he can see it closer, it would still disappear. So where does it disappear to? For him?
No.
You said that it disappears?
It would disappear from his point of view.
But he's going to follow it if he's in the middle of the earth. He said his example, if I'm in the middle of the earth.
It disappears
not my Earth though.
To all of us.
You see the back of his you see the back. You see the
your
picture he has in the back.
If you were to keep moving round with it, it would not disappear because you have a telescope and you would be moving round, watching the sun move round, and then you've told me that it disappears.
For the globe, yes.
Yes, for the globe, he's saying. So it disappears to all of us on the globe, and we know why, because we're turning away from it, right?
Yeah, whether you have a telescope or not,
we would be turning away from it if we were on a globe.
You can't bring it back with a telescope, is what he's saying. You can't zoom it back in and bring it back. Once it's gone beyond the horizon, it's gone, for our perspective.
But he said if he would be using it as in his example was at the NASCAR, and he was moving round in the circle.
Which is where you
following
live.
it round.
So
and
make
it would disappear out of his sight, right. And then he said that it also disappears. So how can it be in full sight and also disappear?
Dave, I didn't want to keep repeating this, but make believe the NASCAR is a nice perfect circle, right? It's a nice perfect circle like the equator. This car race. I'm following a yellow car, and I'm looking at it. I'm turning the whole way around, the whole 360. I would be able to follow this car.
Yes.
If
so
this
if
car
you were following that,
if this car was going over,
it would never disappear for you. But yet you said the sun will still disappear.
But listen to me. This is your model, not mine's. It disappears for your model, but there's no answer to it because I'm at the same distance. Why would it ever disappear? For my model, we don't even have to use that much space. The car's going, there's a little hill. I'm looking over it. It gets over the hill. It would disappear. I can't do anything anymore. I can't zoom it in. There's nothing I can do. That car is gone. On your model, there is no reason for that sun to disappear at the same distance.
Especially if it's 93 million miles away, which you've agreed that it is. Like, how would that ever set behind anything on a plane?
Hey, Keyvon, he might be missing the word appears.
Yeah,
it's not like the sun is blinking out and gone. It appears to the viewer to disappear. It appears to disappear.
correct.
It's
That's
not.
Yes, I think you're right, Sal.
So that was the bird that was missed. Is that why I wasn't understanding?
So, Dave, what you can do is, do you own a globe? I have one here in the house. Do you own a globe?
No.
So if you had a globe and a flashlight, that's all you would need. Like, darken a room, use a flashlight, and fix the flashlight, put it on a dresser, on something, on a table, shining at the globe. Now spin the globe slowly, from west to east. That's the way we turn. And you'll see how, if I live here, now I'm in the light. Now I'm in the light. Now I'm in the light. Now I'm out of the light. And then the next person's turn. They turn towards the light, the sun. That's sunrise to sunset. You turn into the sun. You have the sun for a period of time. Now you turn away from the sun. That's your sunset. Happens for everyone, no matter where they live. That's all it is.
I understand it now that you've explained it, but the way Keyvon was doing it is he was following it round, and then he said it wouldn't disappear, and then he said it would.
Yeah, that's why I want to chime in. It sounded a little...
Dave.
I understand it the way you've explained it now.
Dave,
that's understandable.
Dave, can I ask?
You would still have to explain why it goes away from you. Why does it
I was going to say
disappear?
on the flat Earth, Dave. Why would the sun ever drop below the horizon?
Because the sun moves.
Yeah, but why would it go below the horizon? If there's no curve to go behind, what is it going behind? If it's constantly
Yeah, but host, if I'm standing at the end of the pitch and then you're standing at the end of the pitch, someone is standing at the middle of the pitch, and the sun is coming from west to east, do you think that sun is at a different elevation or is at the same elevation in the sky?
Same elevation.
Right. So if you keep increasing, that's what happens. It's on the same elevation. It's only that it's going out from your view. On a person on point A, when it's in the evening, it's gonna look like it's dropping in the horizon.
Not unless you're below the horizon yourself.
So it drops, right? I can't see it, but the person on the other side of the beach could. And say it's only been 20 minutes. 20 minutes have passed. You're in daylight. I'm in the dark. I grab my telescope, which zooms in, right? Why can't I see it again?
Yeah.
Because of the atmospheric conditions on the surface of the Earth, we all know that.
Why can I go up?
Just 20 minutes in, just 20 minutes after my sun is gone, I can't zoom it in because of atmospheric conditions.
Why can I go up 2 floors and see it again?
You can do that. People that do that, they bring it back.
Nobody has ever brought it back.
No, never happens. Right, guys, sorry, everybody. I'm going to need to go shut this live down. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Nice chat. Cheers, Dave. Thanks, everyone, for being civil, other than Riz, who was a total dickhead earlier on. And everyone else, thanks, Sun Africa. Thank you very much, Sal. Cheers, Dave, Hasselblad, and Kenyon, is it at the bottom there? Thanks, everybody. Cheers for the chat.
Thanks for having me on.
Even the guys in the chat.
Thank you for my generous gift.
Oh, no problem.
Whoever my gifter was, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a follow.
Cheers. Thanks to all the gifters. Cheers, everybody. Adios. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Violated by gas.
There you go then. That was a bit of a debate, wasn't it? Dave was a fairly reasonable flat earther there. Some of the things he said, though, blew my mind. I'm not saying... I know there's going to be flat earthers watching and listening to this that are going to say, oh, that guy it doesn't represent me. And I completely believe you. Like, he was a different kind of flat earther. But, before this happened, there was go back and listen to another one of the shows that we done a few weeks ago where I was talking to 2 other flat earthers, and they also wouldn't answer questions. I'm sure there's people out there that think they've got answers. My inbox on TikTok fills up with flat earthers all the time telling me things and pointing me to evidence that I've seen 1 billion times already that they think tells me something. But, I've done, since this debate, I've done another one just yesterday, actually. Well, this will be going out Sunday, so earlier in the week. And there was much more friendly, like Riz come back on. It's much more of a chat than people getting animated. A few pricks here and there doing their hurt feelings and shit. And even a couple of the Globe guys were getting very annoyed because a couple of them had never had the opportunity because they go into these debates on TikTok and people don't give them the opportunity to speak because they have the same people on all the time. And obviously, I'll just have anyone up. If someone makes a good enough case to want to come up, I'll bring them up. And if they're shit, I'll take them down. So they was chomping at the bit to get at people like Riz because they get so wound up with the stuff that he says and all this. I don't really get that. Like, let him talk. It doesn't really matter to me. He's not. Let him hang himself, is what I'll say. The shit that he comes out with, doesn't really need to be argued against. It just makes me laugh.
China.
Anyway, so yeah, please, everything I said about the Daily What is returning. Hopefully in the new year, but it's not 100% returning. But I'm definitely playing with the idea. I get a bit more time these days to make these short little shows. The difference between the Daily What and when I've done Whatcast Extra was that Whatcast Extra was a bit longer than I would hoped, and it gives me, a bit more time to make it. But the Daily What was like 20, 30 minutes max. And it's definitely not daily. It's just called the Daily What, but it's definitely not daily. And also, please, a shout out to Adrian Torres, who bought us 5 beers this week, I think it was. On buymeacoffee.com/whatcast. So if you want to support the show, you want to give us a little Christmas present, you want to get me and Lee a beer, buymeacoffee.com/whatcast with a K. Do that. Thank you, Adrian, for doing that. Or you could subscribe to the Patreon, then you get shitloads of shows for your money for less than £1 a week, £4 a month, including the HH Home Show, including Madeleine McCann. The big deep dive on Madeleine McCann. The massive deep dive on the Jill Dando case. You won't believe the stuff we uncovered on that. You won't find it on another podcast. I'm telling you now. This may sound like the hard sell, but I genuinely mean this shit, right? Them 2 shows in particular was a lot of work. Also got the 7/7 bombings. I'm looking at doing Building 7, a deep dive on Building 7, 9/11, Building 7, for January's deep dive. So I'm looking into it. I don't actually have information that people are suggesting that. Ironically, flat earthers are suggesting that I do that. So there's still some flat earthers hanging around that listen to this show. But, we, on this show, as I always say, on this show, there's no bias. There's no bias. I just say it as I see it. I don't believe the earth is flat. I do believe some other conspiracies. I don't have this worldview. I don't have that worldview. My worldview is all over the place. I just like to call it down as I see it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this different kind of show today. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But myself and Lee will be back next week for our final show of the year. Other than if you're on the Patreon, obviously, then you'll get that one on Christmas Eve. But it will be our final show of the year until probably the second week of January, when we will return with some more. Thanks for watching. Or thanks for listening to the middle bit. Thanks for listening if you're listening on the podcast. But thank you anyway.
Now enjoy the taste of my nuts.
No need for that, Nathan. Right. See you next time.
You have been listening to Whatcast. Follow and contact us on the Twitter, the Book of Face, and the Gram of Insta at Whatcast with a K.